What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Taurean Rain Reloaded channel. As you can see, the dynamic duo are back yet again. I believe this is the third collab that we have done on my channel, just talking about different things. And as y'all can see by the title, we got a very interesting one today. If y'all thought the one we was talking about with Charlie Chion and Brandon Faken was something, this one with Scott Adams is going to be a doozy. But before I get into it, let me introduce my guest, Rob at Blacklight Revelations. What's going on with you?
What's good with it, bro? I'm glad to be back. I appreciate you and your audience inviting me back to your platform, man. Let's see what this guy and his strange shaped head have to say.
Exactly. So by now I'm sure many people have or probably have not heard about what has been going on with this individual by the name of Scott Adams, but he is a cartoon animator for this comic strip called Dilbert. I actually briefly heard about something called Dilbert years ago, never paid attention to it. It wasn't something that was on my radar. It was just there. Rob, did you know about this?
Nah. And I actually had seen I had seen Scott Adams before because I forget what platform I was on, but he was live and he was talking about a topic like a couple years ago. I want to say like maybe talking about like the economy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea he was a cartoonist. So I had
Yeah.
seen him like on social media before, but I didn't know that he was doing any kind of cartoonist or like, that he was an animator or an artist or anything like that at all. I thought he was just another political talking head.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, apparently this weekend this past weekend, he went off the rails and just went on this rant that just came out of nowhere. And of course, in his rant, he had to incorporate black people into it somehow, some way. And it was just the most random thing. And it made no sense. I wonder if he was on something when he said it, but that's besides the point because it is what it is. They say a drunk mind speaks sober thoughts.
Right.
So yeah, he did a stream on his channel. Now I'm gonna show you the clip, and me and Rob, we're gonna do what we do when it comes to talking about these situations, but it's from a much longer stream. I believe the stream was like about an hour long, but the part that literally stuck out to people was this 2 minute and 51 seconds right here that has been shared. As you can see, 3 million views by the time of us recording this video. So it's safe to say that it has most definitely gone viral. And Rob, you said you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I've seen this a couple times. I kind of got I was watching people's streams and watching other videos and kind of just got bombarded with it because it was so over the top that like everybody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna go over what he says, and if y'all seen it by now, y'all already know what to expect. If this is your first time watching, y'all better hold on to your seats. That's all I'm gonna say.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me.
I'm gonna have to stop it already. I'm trying to figure out what poll.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What poll? Like what poll was taken, and were black people part of this poll?
What I find interesting is that knowing the history of people in this country, even if that poll was accurate, for him to not acknowledge his involvement in the role of why people would feel that way is just astonishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was listening to TBA, and he was going over this as well. And apparently it was some poll that was taken where I guess it was again PC trying to do something to see how they feel about themselves. And apparently the numbers didn't line up with the way that he thought they should. So he automatically put into his own mind somewhere in one of the many corners of his brain that the people that don't like white people the most have to be black people. Actually, you'll be surprised how many other groups don't like y'all either.
Right.
Even some within their group don't even like them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I would like to have seen this poll be broken down by demographics as far as like race, you can say gender and age. But just to say, oh, this percentage don't like white people, it just has to be black people, that's a very vague response.
Well, see, people like Scott Adams, they think that literally everybody is just supposed to love and worship them, and everybody doesn't. Exactly. And when they don't, that's when you get that whole thing that they consider, oh, there's a war on white people, and you know, people don't like white people. You know, go ahead, bro.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you took the words right out of my mouth. I was getting ready to say on that Mark Dice, Charlie Kirk side of the game, and you see what's happening right now. As a matter of fact, I have a video coming up where a former white law student at Howard University got expelled for some stuff that they did, and now they're trying to take a $2 million lawsuit out against Howard University for claims of racial discrimination. But they have receipts saying that this guy was being insensitive and that he was being discriminatory, and he has nothing except the "I'm white and I say so."
See, that's why you got to be real careful. But like a lot of HBCUs have a track record of just doing silly stuff like that. Like there was the one HBCU that was about to accept that quarterback after he got caught using the N-word, and it's like, okay, like I ain't mad at the HBCUs for having a little bit of diversity, but I mean, are you going to vet the people at least? You know what I'm saying?
And it was public knowledge. Like you should have known why he got dropped from that other school from even going there. Like they pretty much said why he didn't go there, and this was a PWI that wasn't allowing him to go to. They dropped his scholarship and everything, and now you want to pick this guy up. But I think if I'm not mistaken, after the backlash that the school got, which was righteous at best, they ended up dropping him, you know, because of the pushback. So I mean, like, well, you shouldn't have even picked him up in the first place,
right? Like that's beyond counterintuitive.
And I had to do a bed bucking on the coach of that school as well as one of the reporters from our local affiliates for trying to make light of the situation.
Oh, the reporters on the local affiliate tried to make light of the situation.
Yeah, because of the situation was the kid, the guy said the N-word, and he was rapping it in a song and everything like that. And the reporter, a black man, was trying to say, well, nobody should be saying it. That whole jargon.
Oh.
Like I said, trying to make light of the situation. Yeah, so I had to go in on him too. And the thing is, like, he's a local affiliate, so I've seen him on my screen plenty of times. Right. And I never thought I'd see the day when he would say something like that.
Crazy.
But let's continue on with whatever he got to say.
According to this poll, that's a hate group.
There it is. That was the other part. We didn't even get that far. He said, according to the poll. Another thing, he didn't even mention what the poll was. What was the name of the poll?
Right.
Like, again, it's so vague. Again, he never said what the name of the poll was. Now, look at what he just did. He just labeled black people, particularly foundational black Americans, a hate group.
Right. Well, what he's doing unsuccessfully is he's attempting to try to do "I'm white and I say so." Because first of all, the only thing that the poll said was that black people were not okay with white people, or black people were not comfortable with white people. It didn't say that black people hated
them. Exactly. And
also,
he didn't even ask why. He didn't even ask why.
Right. As if the reasons aren't just profusely obvious. You know what I mean? There's plenty of reasons why somebody would have issues with white people here in the United States, especially black people, especially foundational black Americans. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And then two, as far as the track record of black people and our interactions with white people, black police officers don't single out and beat white citizens when there's white people in a predominantly black area where the police represent the population. Black people don't commit hate crimes at as high of a rate as white people. There's so much more evidence that shows that black people, for one, a race can't be a hate group. It's a race of people. And for two, just the actions don't add up. We don't have an equivalent group to the KKK. We don't have any kind of government infiltration that's trying to undermine, and derange white internal politics. Like, none of the things that they have going on are any of the things that we have going on. These people like him and Mark Dice turned tomato red over 12-year-olds saying, stuff on TikTok or on Twitter. And I mean, these people, somebody would go and shoot up 11 people at Tops and they'll say you're just being sensitive. I mean, the standards and the delusion that these people live in is just something where it just doesn't even need to be discussed. Like, they just literally need to be clowned at every opportunity and just keep it moving after that.
Exactly.
That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
What do you think about that?
I think they should have took that advice back in 1619. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think about that. And last time I checked, white people have actually been doing that. There's no such thing as black flight. You know what I'm saying? There's what's called white flight, and white flight happens in the real estate market when black people start to move into particular areas. You know what I'm saying? Like, white people have been moving away from black. The only time white people move towards black people is when they want to harm black people or when they want to try to steal something that we have or something that we created. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why white people came to Africa, and the only reason why they still there to this day, people like Elon Musk, who actually backed this clown up, you know what I'm saying, is when they want to steal something or exploit something. You know what I'm saying? Only time the police roll up to you is not to ask you if you need any help, but to kill you. You know what I'm saying? The only time white people came to any of the cities back in the day that black people had created, because we weren't able to be recognized as equivalent Americans, is when they wanted to burn it down because they were jealous and upset of our progress. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, white people have actually been doing that. So I don't know where he's been or what his level of historic intellect is, but he clearly is not very well read. He must only read comic books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And also, you can tell that Scott Adams has been wanting to say this for so long. This has been something that has been burning in his brain and sitting on the tip of his tongue for the longest time. And this was his opportunity to spew whatever it is that he said. And he probably knew the risk that he was taking doing this, but he still didn't care. I mean, as we'll find out as we continue along with the article that's going to be attached to this after we go through this video.
Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away.
The way he said that, it's almost like it was like a PSA to white people. Like, get away from them Negroes, because they are bad for you. And again, that's pushing this narrative of there's a war on white people, and the black people are the ones that not only initiating this war, but they are the ones that are possibly going to win it if we don't take care of what needs to be taken care of. And when I think about what he's saying right here, is going back to the series that I'm doing on my channel right now, the Black Massacre series. And when I think about the narratives with that, plus with what he's saying, this is exactly why I say on my channel all the time, they are not far removed from their ancestors, because their ancestors did the same thing, but they were much more violent with it.
Right. Well, and these people here would be violent too if they didn't have, like, the level of societal safeguards to kind of keep them in place. You know what I'm saying? They would absolutely be as violent. Like, if this was in the 1800s, this guy would have a bunch of people around him, and these comments that he would make would inspire these people to then go and do something violent. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that I think as long as that's been going on, we should recognize that and be ready to check that at the door as soon as they start that. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that starts that Charlottesville stuff. This is the kind of stuff that starts that January 6th stuff. And to be honest, man, like, me personally, myself, I am really tired of this mob going around leaving destruction and laying things to waste. I think next time they need to walk into a bear trap. Head first.
not feet first, like just dive right
Yeah.
into, just dive right into the bear trap.
Yeah, let it get really good. Let it clamp down really hard, like halfway between, the middle of the neck.
Yeah. And before I even go any further, when I was looking at the initial video that was posted where I saw this from, I was looking through the comment section, but more so at the quoted tweets. I say, people can say what they say in the thread, but it's them quoted ones that you want to see what people say in response to that as well. And man, you had so many PC people up in there saying, I am so glad somebody said it's almost like it was a sigh of relief for them because they want to say it, but they don't have the opportunity to say it. Mind you, a lot of these individuals don't live around Black people.
No.
They don't work around them or anything, but
Most
for
white
some
people
reason,
don't live around Black people.
Exactly. Like where I live at, there's not one white person that lives in this area, but they have like this trigger that just seeing a Black person, even from a distance or just in a vicinity, or even just say on TV, and all of a sudden, they supposed to be so scared and all of this stuff right here. But shout out to you for doing the, the suburb videos and the familial side videos as well. I said if PC needs to be scared of anybody, they better look in that mirror if they own one.
Facts. Super facts, bro. And like we had said before, when it comes to this whole quote unquote war on them, they're the ones engaging in a war against themselves. Like they think that literally no one else should have the right to live. Them just seeing a person that's not PC is enough to trigger some kind of deep-seated rage, and that's nobody's fault except for their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get into a deep-seated rage when I see other groups of people. I just keep it moving. If you cool, you cool. If you're not, you're not. I don't care. But they actually really get into some diabolical fits. And like Scott Adams, let's not get it twisted. He wasn't speaking truth to power, and he wasn't preaching to the choir. This dude was just basically exhaling bad breath that was empty all over his microphone. That was it.
Exactly. But of course, the people that eat it up, they're going to swear up and down that he is like the second coming of Gandhi.
Well, they said that Gandhi was a racist.
Exactly. And what's so funny? Gandhi was also half bald and wore glasses.
Yeah, true. Facts.
So there you go.
Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape.
That's dishonest right there. And he's a clown, and the rest of them are clowns too. This can't be fixed. There's a whole group of people that have been going hard in the paint for a long time about reparations. They've been telling you how to fix it. The problem is that the way that they want it fixed is that they just want everybody to fall into their societal places that everybody cut out for them and just worship and kiss butt. And that's not the way that most people are interested in fixing things. So what we'll do is we'll just overstate and over exaggerate and act like cultural Karens like we always do, and just say, well, these people want things that are unreasonable and it's just too far gone. It's not unreasonable and it's not just too far gone. You're the ones that are too far gone.
And also, peep too, what he said you got to escape. Why does he make it seem like Black people are holding them hostage for ransom? Like he said you just gotta escape. Like, we aren't holding you hostage. You talking about?
You gotta escape what? The suburbs?
Exactly. Like I said, nothing that we are only 42 seconds into a 2-minute and 51-second video. And nothing he said up until this point made any sense. And he probably knows it doesn't make any sense either. But this is just how he feels at the moment. This is just how he feels. And like I said before, many people who was on them quoted tweets on Twitter was eating it up as if it was the best thing since sliced bread.
That's because never mind. Let me shut up. Yeah, I bet. I'll just put it like that. I bet.
That's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where I have a very low Black population, because unfortunately there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way.
Why did he bring Don Lemon up?
Because these people are literally so just gone out of their minds completely, that they think that if they bring up something that they heard one individual black person say, it somehow infallibly validates it. So that means that what he's trying to do here is he's trying to use Don Lemon as a human shield for his racism and bigotry.
Yeah. Is this referring to the comment that Don Lemon made a couple years ago when he said white men are the most dangerous men in society? Is it referring to that comment?
I don't
Do you remember
know.
when he said that?
Yeah.
I think every black person in America was shocked to hear Don actually say that on his platform when he used to have his night show, his evening show on CNN, when he actually came out and said that. Like,
well,
I was sitting there saying to myself, like, I had said, Don, are you okay? Like, are you under
Really?
hypnosis right now? Because like that actually shocked me. And then you got to think too, because Don Lemon is married to a white man. So
right.
So that made it even more interesting that he said that.
Oh, that's that. I was just about to say that right there. Probably, like, I wasn't surprised at all. I said, yeah, you know, his partners probably done went upside his head a couple times. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably been a battered wife in a couple of relationships that he's been in. So you know, I could see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's literally, oh God, don't let your lunch come back up. He's literally the inside man when it comes to that. So I can see him saying it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, cool. We got some good inside info. Okay.
Yeah, and I think when Don had made that comment, it pissed a lot of white men off, and most likely Scott Adams. And he probably never let that go, which is why he brought his name up with this. But I don't know if he's alluding to that, because you know Don has said a lot of things since then. But that comment is what makes me believe that's what he's referring to.
Probably.
Yeah, and they didn't like the fact that he said that, because you know they're not supposed to be seen as dangerous. They're supposed to be the knight in shining armor. At least that's how the movies make them appear to be.
Right. Them movies don't really never make them characters that annihilate their whole families, which is something that they do very well too.
And if they do make a movie like that, it has to be a reason as to why they did it, such as they got possessed by some demonic entity, such as Amityville Horror.
Right.
The house made me do it.
They didn't get possessed by no demonic entity other than their ancestors. George Washington or Abraham Lincoln got up in there and they started acting a fool.
That's why I said movies like the Poltergeist. I said, you want to know who the real villain was? The ones who built that house on top of that graveyard.
Right.
I said them spirits didn't like that. They said we just trying to rest, and you want to have your bad oil, or not your bad oil, but your bad pipes running through where we're trying to rest. Okay, we about to create some unrest for you.
Yeah. That's why I always say embrace villainy, because when you actually look at who usually are the bad guys, there's a reason why they're bad, and it's usually because they've been violated by some force in the world that everybody just turns away from and ignores and acts like they need to just be silent on it. In most of those horror movies, the ghosts or the supernatural forces, it's always either been because somebody that's in that house that's related to somebody has slaughtered a bunch of people and it's never been made right. Or you remember Tales from the Hood when those little voodoo dolls was tearing up that senator? I mean, like, that's what it is. Like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? And notice how when it comes to the supernatural, it's always a PC family. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't never no black family. That's or it's never no indigenous, or it's never no other group of people except for Asian people, because that Bruce Lee thing was kind of weird. But like, it's always PC people that deal with this. Oh, the spirits were not at rest. Yeah, probably because somebody 10 generations back in your family did something horrible to them. You know what I'm saying? And you haven't acknowledged it.
Yeah, you notice that it's not a lot of movies out there where the possessed is a black person, whether it's a man, woman, or a child, boy or girl. It's very rare that you have a movie about possession that the character that's possessed is black. I'm not gonna say it's none out there, but they are very few and very far in between.
Right. Well, that's because what have we gone around the world and disturbed?
Exactly.
You could go on every single continent and there's a reason for some spirits to be upset at European energy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
And so here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference.
Can I just say something real quick?
Okay, so he elaborated on what he was referring to Don Lemon. So it wasn't what I thought it was.
when he was talking about he sees problems that he doesn't see in white neighborhoods, is he talking about restaurants that serve slop and liquor stores? Because that's something that is in the hood. That's a problem that you don't see in white neighborhoods.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because exactly. And again, he's not elaborating unless he's going to, but I don't think he will, about the issues that he's talking about. But he used Don Lemon as an example, to say, or like you said, as a shield to say, see, I'm not racist because I said it. Don Lemon said it, and he's black.
Yeah.
So there's no way that you can say that I'm racist. I said Scott Adams is so stupid. This guy is third-degree delusional. He doesn't even realize what he's doing right now. He's telling all the secrets. He got off cold. That's why they had to get rid of his ass. He literally is telling everyone how they think. You're not supposed to tell people how you think. That's like having a multi-million-dollar idea. You don't tell anybody your idea until that thing is locked and silent. You have to tell the right people. You don't tell everybody.
Right. How you think people like them gonna feel when they wake up and realize that those coons are actually inside men and all they doing is just giving us the inside?
Yeah, you was talking about that. I remember you had talked about that in a live stream, that they literally are like inside people, and they're telling they're literally telling us how they think.
Right.
You're literally like a vessel.
Yeah. They're a vessel. I wonder what they're gonna do when they wake up and realize that.
If they wake up.
Right.
You're living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore.
Help when? He said help black people anymore. When have you helped us? We can point out parts in history where you have done stuff to us that have hindered us and held us in a very neutral spot. But to say you helped advance us, where?
These people literally think that like slavery and all of the abuse, they actually in their brains think that is some kind of help. That's what's so just bizarre. They actually think that.
Yeah, that's why that Chris, I don't know if you remember, it was a couple weeks ago, it was actually during the Super Bowl when that Chris Berman had mentioned, about Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, making history, quote unquote, the first two black. That's why I put it in quotes, because Patrick Mahomes, he's biracial. So I guess you could say 1.5 black men was competing in the Super Bowl. And then right after he said that, he said, and by the way, this game is happening on Abraham Lincoln's birthday. I knew exactly what he meant when he said that, because it goes back to that myth that Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves.
Right.
That's exactly what he was alluding to. He's basically saying it's happening on Abraham Lincoln's birthday, so they should be thankful that they can play, because, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be able to play in the NFL or something along those. It was a dumb comment, and it was not even needed. The media reports tore his ass a new one.
Good. They should have. And it's about time that the media actually reacts to stuff like that. The only problem is that
they don't react the way we would.
Well, for one, they don't react the way we would. And for two, like, we live in a climate now where it's becoming more obvious that anti-black, especially anti-FBA racism, is an American pastime, and it's a part of American culture. It's an accepted part of American culture. It's just like apple pie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now if you say something insane like that, or if you say something insane like what Scott Adams is saying here, And if you get reprimanded for it, like how Scott Adams got reprimanded for it, now you just have about 6 or 7 million people on given social media spaces just running around and repeating that somebody has been racist against white people because white people aren't allowed to turn up and be the vile racists that they've historically been.
Yeah, and that's another reason why they say that this is a war on white people, because they can't say, like you said, they can't say the things that they can't act in the vein that their ancestors did. They
Right.
want to go back to that so bad in
They-
everything that it entails, and I do mean everything.
Oh yeah, they feel that that's their right.
Mm-hmm. And
Like
many of them could create a time machine. I bet you they will go back to those times just so they can experience just a little bit of it. But you do know that if you go back in time and you alter time, then you're messing up your future, or your present, I should say. So if you get effed up back then, we ain't gonna see you in the present, which probably is a good thing.
You'll be like Mark Wahlberg when he went through that black hole and got into Washington, D.C. and found out that the world was correct.
It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to Black America.
When did you help us? Rob, I'm trying to figure this out. My brain is like is mush right now.
Do you
Like,
see
I'm
how
trying
his
to
head is kind of pointed at the top there?
Yes, it looks like a dunce cap. It looks like something
Yeah.
else too.
So that means that the brain is a lot smaller than it would be if the area was evenly distributed. So for one, you know, he's thinking with an oblong, egg-shaped brain that doesn't have a maximum efficiency surface area. And
Yeah.
then for two, what he thinks that his significant help is for helping Black people is him not saying stuff like this out loud anymore. And I don't know if people have noticed this, and I'm talking about non-Black people, but no one cares about this kind of stuff anymore because we'll just say something back that's even worse, historically accurate, and vile about you. No one cares about this anymore. This isn't that old generation where people will start sweeping the floor, banjo playing, and buck dancing when somebody starts saying this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff right here that'll get you sent home and have you driving on the freeway considering driving into traffic because people will turn around and get you together so well. So like, and that right there is the thing that they don't like. They like to have societal structures in place that will not only allow them and encourage them to be as vile towards other groups of people as they can be, but they also want to have protection because they know that they're so weak that they can't even protect themselves. But nowadays, this kind of stuff gets checked immediately, especially by the younger generation, which is just a great thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and he doesn't like that, and it's really upsetting him. The way he feels right now is how our parents feel when they talk about James Brown and compare it to the music that's out today.
Yeah. And also too, he knows that it is profitable. A lot of the ones who say this stuff, they mean it, but they know that if they can get a bag off of it, they're going to continue to do it. That's why these Black conservatives do what they do on YouTube all the time, because they know there is a bag to get in a hefty one. They need to cut a hole at the bottom of that bag, and they know that they can get paid off of it. They know what they're saying is a bunch of crap, and their audience knows it as well. But you know, they need the attention, they need the money. So what do? They're going to come on and they're going to repeat some of the same stuff that he did. That's why it was blowing my mind when there was a lot of Black people trying to back up what Charlie Cheon was saying in that one video, not the one we talked about, but the one before it, when he was talking about like what are we doing to white people, something like that. It was dumb. It was something real goofy. I'm like, oh my god, we know what you're trying to do. I mean, you trying to get a spot.
Right. Speaking of which, did you see your boy Officer Tatum? You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
This dude had a video and it said, so supporting Black people is racist, talking about Ben Stein and his comments about Aunt Jemima.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That wasn't support, but okay.
Here's my question: who supported Aunt Jemima? Because the woman that character was made after died broke. She doesn't even have a headstone where she's buried at, if I'm not mistaken, in Chicago.
Yeah, some support.
Right.
But again, that goes back to what I just said. They say stuff that they know will get them a bag and knows that their audience will eat up. Yep. And they know it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yep.
I'm talking about literal diarrhea of the mouth. Like how this dude is talking right now.
Right. No, that's facts. That's big facts.
Because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist.
Now why is he sitting up here trying to sound like Bernie Sanders? You know how Bernie Sanders always kept talking about, I marched for Dr. King. So, you can't call me racist because I marched for Dr. King. That's basically what he's saying right now. And he's saying all his life and whatnot. Well, that's interesting because I was listening to Professor Black Truth's Moment of Truth this morning. And, he's been doing this comic strip Dilbert for like 30 years. So you're talking about going back to the 90s. And they basically said not in any issue is there a black character in any of the issues. So my thing is, if you don't even have black characters in your comic strip, how are we to believe you when you say that you support black people if you couldn't even do that? And that's bare minimum.
Right.
So like, I'm like, it's almost like he's trying to look for some kind of award from us. Like, I did this and I did this for you. You didn't do nothing, but okay, in your mind you did. And he says, and this is what I get. What are we supposed to give you? Most of us didn't even know who the hell you were until you said this shit.
And most of us still don't. And most of us don't even care. Like he's so insignificant that most of us don't even care. Like, I don't care that he said this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
he wants us to care.
Yeah. Like, I care about it from the standpoint of it just proves the point that this is what we say, how most of these people get down, and this is just another example of it. But as far as, did Scott Adams saying this nonsense affect my day at all? No. I get to talk to my homie Taurean and roast his clown. That's about it.
Exactly.
So that actually makes my day better.
Exactly. To those watching, we don't care that he said this. We just doing this because we know it's a good roast.
Right.
A lot of the time, hey, listen, as a matter of fact, a lot of the times, like when me and Rob collabing, like, what we saw with the previous two, it's not because we were upset with what they said, because we know that's typical from people like that.
Right.
We just wanted to have an opportunity to roast their ass, and we know that y'all love it. And so this is entertainment for us, and we're practically in response entertaining you.
Right. Absolutely.
That's really all it is.
Content strategy.
Because I'm over here, like I'm not even red hot. Like, I'm not even fuming. I'm over here laughing. I'm not even sweat bust. I didn't drop one sweat bead from my brow, stressing over what this guy is saying.
Not at all. And I'm not stressing over the fact that a bunch of people agreed with him either. I don't care. That bothers me so little, because any one of those people that agreed with him, none of them would ever bring this up and ask me to have a conversation with it face to face, because they're that scared, they're that emotional. They wouldn't ever do any of this until they got into their safe little enclaves, and then they'll start talking about getting the tiki torches and pitchforks out and different things like that.
Yeah, it'll be Charlottesville all over again.
That. Oh yeah, it'll be Charlottesville. This is the kind of stuff that starts Charlottesville. This is the kind of stuff that starts race riots and massacres, like the series that you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Now, on that aspect, with the point that you just made, now that's a more serious tone because of like what he's saying right here, and the same thing that Mark Dice was saying, or Charlie Cheon was saying, or Charlie Kirk was saying. Now that should be taken more seriously, because that's what they want to kick up. Remember Dylan Roof? That's what he tried to do. Back in 2015, he said that's what he said. He said he wanted to start a race war, but let them tell it. We are the ones that want to start it.
Right.
That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help Black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying.
You never even tried. You did everything you could to do the complete opposite, which was keep us stuck.
Stop
and
helping.
Technically to today, we're still in pretty much like the same spot. We haven't moved that much, but I mean, like, yeah, what help have you provided
Stop
at all.
helping. Stop helping. You know
Exactly, because your help is not help at all.
It's not help at all. You mix people up about religion when you go to other countries and claim you're going to teach them about religion. You lay a path of destruction everywhere that you go, ruin entire continents. You know what I'm saying? Literally every group of people in the world has been affected negatively by encounters with you. Stop helping. Help yourselves.
Exactly.
Help yourselves to not commit familicide.
Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps
and pull yourself out by the collar.
The same thing that y'all like to tell us all the time.
Right.
Totally not trying. And there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I expect that every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, this was so funny. Like, yeah, you didn't expect that today, did you? Yeah, actually, we did.
Yeah, because we're not surprised at what anything that you said in the last 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Right.
Nothing. And we still got almost an entire minute to go for whatever you have to say. Now, I'm gonna insert this right here because I don't know if this part was in this clip, but TBA did his stream about this, and he was showing another part of the video from the longer form video, which is like almost an hour long, where this guy was speaking as if he was trying to do the whole transracial thing. Did you see that?
No, but I actually had just looked him up on Wikipedia, and he's saying how he's, you know, all these different things except for what he actually looks like.
Yeah, like when I listened to that, because that was my first time hearing that part, I said, what the hell is really malfunctioned about this dude? That he going out here saying that, you know, that he feels like he's black or he is black. I'm like, no, I can't. I said my brain is fried right now.
So is he gonna get away from himself?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I wish he had
Rachel Dolezal. You see what you've done?
Right, Rachel them started a trend, but she on OnlyFans now, so
and barely doing that. They clown her ass when her OnlyFans got exposed. I don't think she really got any major support behind that, but
nah.
Yeah. We just clowned her ass when she said she was on OnlyFans. He's like, okay.
Did you hear about that one woman? She was a conservative, and then she became like a Arabic.
Yes. Yeah. She was a white woman, and she threw a hijab on, you know, threw some bronzer on, exaggerated her makeup to make her look like she had these exotic features.
Yeah.
And she too, like Rachel Dolezal, got exposed by her mother.
Notice how when those people do that, they make it all the way to the top. Rachel Dolezal is like the CEO. That woman was like the CEO.
Yep, they make it all the way to the top and stepping on people who should have had that position. And then they get exposed by, you know, a loved one or, you know, a relative. And again, Rachel's parents exposed her, and this woman, her mother, exposed her. She's like, she is not who she claims to be. She is a white woman from one of the most liliest of white as snow towns in middle rural America.
Right. And those and the reason why the families come out and straighten that out is because the families are so racist, especially those women. They want to make sure that everybody knows, like, wait a minute, I was never involved with a black man. This girl is out here messing up my reputation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So that's what.
But I still remember the day that Rachel had got exposed, though. They said in so many words, because I think it was CNN that had broke that story. They was talking to her, and in so many words, they were saying, word on the street is that you're not really a black woman, you're actually white, because we got this statement from your parents, and these are your parents right here. They actually had to like show her a picture to let her know these are your parents right here. It said that you are, you know, that your name is Rachel Dolezal from this town and this town. And they pulled up all stuff on her. When they showed that picture of how she actually looked, she looked like this frumpy white girl that literally looked like she just left off the set of Little House on the Prairie.
Not Little House on the Prairie. I believe it.
I still got that image in my mind of how she actually looked before how she looks now.
That's wild,
Yeah.
man. You know, and the thing is that like we laugh about that, right? But they've been making a business out of that for centuries with the Dawes Act. You know what I'm saying? You know, then there's them folks, which is a complete masterclass on this. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, they've been literally identity thieves for a very long time.
I actually got a triple P coming up soon, dealing with that. And when I tell you, when I first watched the video, I could not stop laughing. So I already know that when my audience sees this video, y'all are going to be cracking up before I even get done, before I even really say my first words, you know, involving the situation. It's that funny. But
That's
yeah, let's
hilarious.
get back into this. All right.
But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can.
He make it seem like we diseased. He said, just get away from them. Just get as far away from them as you can, like be the outbreak monkey.
Right, which actually, you know, that's a little bit of projection, especially given the history in this country, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of Black Americans beating up non-Black citizens.
What?
I'm really sick of his stories. You know, I'm really sick of history and all of the race massacres of white people massacring Black people. I'm really tired of that. Most of the times when you see those Black people beating up somebody, it's because those people were trying to violate those people, or they went to a Black area and tried to poke their chest out and ended up getting their head beat in. That's usually what happens, because most, like, I don't understand what white people don't understand about this, but literally nobody's checking for y'all. No one, y'all are checking for us. You know what I'm saying? Ask Peyton Gendron, ask the Boogaloo Boys, ask these insane chads that have a garage full of guns that drive halfway across the country to attempt to disrupt anything going on in the hood. Ask whatever the name of that group is that tried to do that march in Philadelphia. You don't see droves of Black people going to white areas to do anything because no one cares. It's not popping in white areas with anything other than privilege and money. But I mean, the kind of stuff that y'all have and the kind of money that y'all have, that's not anything that we'd be interested in. Nobody's doing that. It's not happening. Show me an example of that, and I can show you about. I can show you example after example after example after example of caravans of white people coming to Black areas to disrupt things going on in Black areas. But Black people don't care what's going on in white areas. It's just because it's nothing exciting.
This would be their example. 3 letters, ELM. That's their go-to right there. That's the one they would mention.
Yeah.
And here's a spoiler alert to those out there that would say that. Not every Black person rocks with Black Lives Matter like that. As a matter of fact, a vast majority do not. You will find it's more non-Black people who do than those who are Black.
Right. Yeah, big facts.
You know, I realize it's anecdotal and it doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening, but every damn day I look on social media and there's some Black person beating the shit out of some white person.
So I bet you he really didn't like that fight between John Jones and Gustafson then, or that fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor.
I had to literally turn a little bit in my chair when he said that. So I guess white supremacy has gotten so weak that the so-called alleged 13% of the population is just beating the crap out of the so-called dominant society, even with all their privilege, all their wealth, all their status, all their influence, all their power. We, the so-called weakest link or the bottom of the totem pole, are just going out there terrorizing white people just because. So, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Charlie Cheon, and he said that it's mainly Black people going out and attacking Asians. 2.5 to 3 weeks later, we got this guy saying it's mainly Black people going out there and terrorizing white people. I'm just waiting for a South of the Borderian to come on and say the same thing is happening to them at by our hands.
Now, notice how the 13%, 55% of the population crime statistic was used for a very long time to attempt to perpetuate anti-black white supremacist talking points. There's also some statistics about hate crimes that don't make white people look very favorable.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Most hate crimes in America are perpetuated and committed by white people, which kind of debunks that notion. And those are coming from FBI crime stats. And notice how he didn't quote FBI crime stats.
Exactly. And they tell you from what, and a lot of times they'll tell you from what group or like what organization, because we're going back to what he said earlier. He tried to say black people was a hate group. How can you label an entire race a hate group?
If any race should be labeled a hate group, it should be his race. Not if we're going to do that, if we're going to name races of people hate groups, how can you not name a race of people that's literally known for disrupting equilibrium with every other group of people that they come in contact with uninvited, and then massacre them, and then create whole entire new sub races of people by violating the women sexually? How can you say that a group of people that has historically done that is not a hate group?
Yeah. Remember when they tried to do that BIE thing with black people? They just needed to find a way to label black people with something, but then they got checked on that and they quickly took that BIE off because there was nothing there to prove or have that locked in document wise to state or line up with these white organizations that have been around for years, where there's actual proof of them terrorizing other groups of people, especially us. Over the course of decades.
Do you know how like Louis Farrakhan is a household name, and like everybody, like especially white people, just detest Louis Farrakhan? But you know what's so interesting about Louis Farrakhan? He's never threatened to blow up a power grid to initiate a race war.
Exactly.
These people's teenage sons who are on Twitch playing Call of Duty are making plans on Discord and Reddit as we speak to blow up power grids in different states.
Exactly. It's only 6 seconds left. We don't need to watch the last 6 seconds of that. I mean, the video, as far as I'm concerned, is over. So now we go on transfer over to, if I was doing this video by myself, this would have been a triple P. So this right here is what occurred after that video that y'all just watched, that me and Rob just went over. So it says Dilbert cartoon dropped from many news outlets over creator Scott Adams' racial remarks. He had to have seen this one coming, or maybe because he was so knee deep in his own privilege, he probably didn't see it coming.
Right.
He probably thought it was just going to just fly by, just be here today, gone tomorrow.
And this is how this fake outrage works. So literally no black people caused him to get canceled. Nobody wrote a petition to say get rid of Scott Adams. Nobody made a bunch of videos saying deplatform Scott Adams. Nobody did that. Other white people who own these businesses that were associated with Scott Adams did that, and they didn't do it at the behest of us because nobody came whining about it. But what will end up happening is the population at large and people like Tim Pool and Steven Crowder and Mark Dice and just all of these weirdos, all of these activity deprived morons will just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat that Scott Adams has been canceled. You see Elon Musk doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no one canceled Scott Adams except for Scott Adams.
Exactly.
And other white
cancellation.
people. Yeah. So
he did it. He did it to himself.
Yeah, facts.
So let's see what they're talking about. They said it's a 1 minute read. It says newspapers across the country are pulling the Dilbert cartoon after a podcast racial rant from the creator and author Scott Adams. Adams said on his Coffee with Scott Adams online video program that white people should get the hell away from black people. He actually said, get the fuck away from them. That's what he actually said. He probably said both, but he probably said both, but they said, you know what, we'll put the safer one here,
right?
Because hell is in the Bible.
that's to let you know he meant business.
Yeah. So he said he should get the hell away from black people, labeling blacks as a hate group. That's just a silly notion right there. The fact that he tried to label an entire group of people a hate group, but you know what? we shouldn't be surprised because this just clicked in my head. Remember 9/11?
Yeah.
They tried to label those Arabs and those people from the Middle East as hate groups because of what a few did on 9/11.
Which is hilarious because, like I said, if you're going to label a race a hate group, you have to label your own race a hate group, because your race is the one that has literally committed atrocities against every known human group, including your own.
Mm-hmm.
No one else has done that. No one else has the track record that they have as far as global interactions.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
The Dilbert cartoon is a satire on office politics and has been around for more than 3 decades. It has spawned a media empire in featuring dozens of books, a video game, and animated television series, and thousands of coffee cups and related merchandise. In 1997, Adams received the National Cartoonist Society Reuben Award, its highest honor. And this is update on Saturday, Adams suffered a major blow. Boom. This action by USA Today Network means that racist Scott Adams' Dilbert comic strip will no longer appear in more than 200 newspapers across the country. This man is about to lose a lot. You know what? He needs to fall into the same category as what's the name of the former Papa John CEO? John.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot his last name already. But remember when he said what he said, and they got rid of him. He had to step down as the CEO. Then I think he went to like another position, and they kicked him off of that position too. But his fall from grace was so massive that his net worth took a hit.
Yeah.
Sort of like what they did or tried to, do with Kanye West last year.
Right.
His net worth took a huge hit. Like I think they said like he dropped, like his net worth did drop significantly because of what he did. And when you think about it in hindsight, what he said was tame compared to what Scott Adams did. And the thing is, Scott Adams has, in my opinion, way more to lose than the former CEO of Papa John's, because at least Papa John's is still open. This guy, they move all his stuff. Who's going to see it? I barely, you know what? I didn't even watch it, or I forgot it had a show. I didn't even watch it whenever I would used to look at a newspaper. I used to the only strip I would used to look in the little comic section was Peanuts or Charlie Brown or the Boondocks. That was it.
Right.
I wasn't checking for no Dilbert.
That's hilarious.
Let's see what else it says. It's Cleveland's The Plain Dealer published a letter from the editor Friday stating that it was not a difficult decision to axe the Adams cartoon. They said it wasn't a difficult decision. They said, you know what that also says to me? Maybe they were saying, you know what? Thank God this guy put his whole foot in his mouth, because we've been trying to get rid of him for years. Well, thank you for helping us make this transition easy.
Right. And the Cleveland Plain Dealer, I know, like, for real, they've been losing money for years, downsizing, and you know what I'm saying, they closed down their major headquarters. So I'm sure they like, whoo, now this is some more money we don't have to pay out because we already losing enough money. So goodbye.
He says, we are not a home for those who espouse racism, the editor wrote. He added that Advanced Media, its publisher, was instituting similar moves at its other properties. John Heiner of MLive Media in Michigan echoed the Plain Dealer. He wrote in an editorial, we will work quickly to find a replacement that will entertain you and not violate basic standards of decency and respect for others. I will say this. Even though we go against what lamestream media pretty much put out there, and this came from Deadline, by the way, and Deadline is one of the more accurate things when it comes to entertainment. The fact that they acted quickly on this and they didn't drag this along, they weren't trying to question whether it was or whether it wasn't, is a good thing. Because a lot of times they'll try to say, oh, we got to wait for all the facts. We got to make sure. No, he said what he said in the video. Nothing he said was alleged. This was not a joke. They even tried to make it seem like what he was saying, what they were questioning, was he joking or was he serious? No, he was dead ass serious.
Right. No, I agree.
Like one thing people, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. I'll go
But
after you.
but like I said, some of the people that was on Twitter were trying to make it seem, trying to make light of what he was saying. No, if he was saying this about them folks, they wouldn't have cared or questioned if he was joking or if he was being serious.
Right.
He would have been gone. But when it
Right.
comes to us, they want to ask, well, I don't. When they listen, whenever they start off with, well, you already know they about to say some BS.
Well, what it is too is they also have to compensate for the allowed portion of racism, because remember, it's just not American if it's not racist. Like
Exactly.
it is embedded into the culture, so it's just an expectation that it's supposed to be there.
It's in the fabric.
Yeah, it's in the fabric.
But speaking of people that did feel some type of way, and we already mentioned this person a couple of times when we was going through the video, Elon Musk. He was one of the few people who felt some type of way about what happened with Scott Adams, so much so that he called the media racist in response to the newspapers dropping Dilbert. Before we read this, Rob, what do you have to say?
Okay, Elon Musk, instead of calling it racist, and just because Elon Musk has some disabilities, and he's always making faces that just accentuate them, and he shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But if you feel that that Scott Adams has been wronged, you own one of the biggest social media platforms there are. So what you should do is go ahead and pay Scott Adams to put his Dilbert cartoon exclusively on a feed on Twitter and see how much return you get from it. And make sure that even if it gets negative equity and you're losing money by funding and promoting it, you keep on to fight against that racism against white men. You go ahead, you go for it, buddy.
And this is the same person that people was coming out the bat for and saying, "Oh my God, Elon Musk is about to take over Twitter. We're gonna fight against the wokeness." I'm like, oh
man, it was so many, man, bro.
They was about to go outside and have a whole parade when they learned that he was even thinking about purchasing Twitter. This is before the ink was pulled out to sign any documents or saying that he was going to buy it. And I said, and I'm actually glad that TBA again spoke on this on his stream last night, because I keep telling people, y'all keep bigging up Elon Musk. This guy is not a good businessman. He's not. He is a bad businessman. And this is not coming from a place of hate or anything like that, but it is what it is. This guy is not a good businessman at all.
He's not smart either.
Right. He was handed this stuff.
Yeah.
This guy has never really had to work for anything that he's got. He just has a title of being the wealthiest man in the world. He did not work for any of this. You know, I will give Jeff Bezos this if I don't give him anything else. At least he actually worked from the ground up to build up Amazon to where it is today. Like I saw like images of him like back when he was working out of his garage.
Mm-hmm.
What garage was Elon Musk working out of in South Africa?
Emerald mine.
Right. Exactly.
That was stolen. That wasn't his. And then he even stole from that. I don't know if you know about the story of Elon Musk actually stealing from his parents, but he did. This dude is a little scamming scoundrel. You know what I'm saying? So when they talk about sweat equity, all it is the sweat of anxiety that you're going to get caught stealing whatever it is that you stole in order to make your profit, and then point your fingers at everybody else and tell everybody else to pull themselves up by the bootstraps.
You're right. Well, let's see what this is talking about. Twitter CEO Elon Musk called the media racist in several tweets on Sunday in a strange reaction to the news that the country's biggest newspaper what happened?
No, I'm just laughing at the strange reaction because he probably was making that very face that he has right there when he had that reaction. Oh my God, Scott got in trouble. I don't understand why.
Right. He says that we're dropping the Dilbert comic strip. My question is this: Elon, did you even read this comic strip? Because if you didn't, this is a bunch of fake outrage.
Nah, he didn't read it.
And even if you did, I still claim that it's fake outrage. But anyway, he said Dilbert creator Scott Adams saw his strip pulled from the Washington Post and lost. And it's ironically, we mentioned Jeff Bezos because guess who owns Washington Post? The irony of it all.
Right.
And Los Angeles Times, among a host of other newspapers, after he promoted racial segregation in a YouTube video, which basically tells everyone, black people, for those who like to big up Elon Musk, he agreed with everything that Scott Adams said.
Mm-hmm. And also he agreed with apartheid, which is where he came from. His apartheid roots, his apartheid emerald mine that his parents used to own. There's so many black people that support Elon Musk, Kanye West being one of them. It's just sickening to me. Like it turns my stomach. And when Elon Musk was talking about he was going to buy Twitter and all of that, I was just like, I just a lot of times I just shake my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
I didn't get excited over it. I was like, okay,
me neither.
It was just like another day, you know. Okay, so another, you know, billionaire saying that they're gonna buy something. You know,
how do you think the world is gonna change, Taurean? How do you think the world is gonna change?
No,
when Elon Musk takes over Twitter.
No, this is the one I kept seeing. Elon Musk is gonna buy Twitter. Trump's coming back to Twitter. That's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying. It's like Trump's coming back to Twitter. Meanwhile, Trump is on a whole another platform called True Social.
Right.
When's the last time we seen Trump tweet something since he got banned from the platform when it was under old ownership?
Right.
He probably don't want to come back to Twitter. He having fun over on that True Social website. Doesn't he own that?
Yeah, tweeting everything to himself. Yeah,
okay. There you go. Okay, it says in the bizarre video that started everything, Adams cited a Rasmussen poll that asked people how they felt about the term "it's okay to be white." I've actually heard them actually say that before. It's almost like they're crying out for someone to help them from a situation where they need to be saved when they don't.
The only person that said it's not okay to be white is the sun.
Oh.
I never said it, and I don't think anybody else ever said
it. He said a phrase that was started as a racist trolling campaign because a percentage of black respondents said they didn't like the phrase. Adams argued the only solution was for racial segregation. Based on the current way things are going, the best advice I will give to white people is to get the hell away from black people, Adams said in a video that would prompt the backlash. My thing is, did he not expect backlash to come?
Well, here's my thing too, and I think that these mainstream media outlets, I don't like how they do this. Like, they need to say where the backlash came from. And they also need to start putting into context how little black people care about this, because this is the baseline expectation of their behavior. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about none of this. Honestly, for real, if you look at where and how he got canceled, it was a bunch of white liberals who are racist themselves who decided to take this opportunity to make the business move of removing him from these media outlets, because that's all it is a business move. They do not care about if this dude says anything racist or not. Exactly. None of the people who removed his access to the newspapers, they don't care. They're racist themselves. They don't live in the hood. They don't live next door to a black person, and they ain't paid a dime in reparations.
Yeah, they just want to make sure that people continue to buy their stuff, and they know that or support them, they just need to make sure they got to cut the fat, and Scott Adams being that heavy layer of fat that is holding them down. So they're like, we can't be associated with him, so please continue to buy our stuff. We didn't know he was like this. He just came out and said what he said. So it's almost like it's damage control.
Right.
He said Musk, who often interacts with Adams on Twitter, took the news that Dilbert was being canceled as an opportunity to argue that American media is racist against whites and Asians, an argument for which he provided no evidence. Of course he didn't, but let's dissect why he included Asians in there. He said whites and Asians, that the American media is racist against whites and Asians. I can't remember the last time I saw a white equivalent of a George Floyd.
I can't remember the last time I saw an Asian one.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we don't hear anymore about those two mass shootings that happened in California, Half Moon Bay and Monterey Park. That's just gone. It's like it was here today, gone tomorrow. We heard more about what happened with Tyree Nichols, and that happened before that. That happened about 2 weeks before that.
Who owns those media companies that Elon Musk is so outraged about that his face is spasming again?
Exactly. maybe he should reach out to them, like, holla at Rupert Murdoch over at Fox News, whoever owns CNN, holla at them, talk to the people over at MSNBC.
He don't
talk
even
to
have to
them.
holler at them, bro. He can just buy them and fix them. Then buy them and have your newscasters that you hire wear hoods and use burning crosses as the stage lighting, and guess how little anyone will care.
Exactly. That's the craziest thing, is like a lot of them claim that the American media is being racist against them, or that there's a war on white people, but they, like this article stated, an argument for which he provided no evidence. He's just talking.
They never provide any evidence of anything ever. It has never happened. There has never been evidence provided by any claim that any of these people have ever made about anything. All it is that there's a bunch of people who feel the same way because they're ashamed of who they are, their past, what they're associated with, that just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until it sticks. There's never any evidence of anything.
Exactly. For a very long time, US media was racist against non-white people. Now they're racist against whites and Asians. Same thing happened with elite colleges and high schools in America. Maybe they can try not being racist. Musk tweeted on Sunday. This sounds like something that came from someone that was just born yesterday.
Elon must be making faces like he was just born yesterday. He make faces like he's still getting used to oxygen and different things like that. He seems like he's kind of allergic to water. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. One of Musk's followers responded by saying that while what Adam said wasn't good, there was truth in what he was saying. Oh boy, let's see what they talk about. Adam's comments weren't good, but there's an element of truth to this. It's complicated. Then why is it complicated? You gonna say that and then say it's complicated? What? He said, mainly we've leaned into identity with predictable results, and power today is complicated. We were on the right path with color blindness and need to return to it. That is definitely a white person that said that, because they're the ones that say we need to live in a colorblind society, or this one. I don't see color. They said, let's go back to a colorblind society.
That's how their patterns of behavior make them look. Scott Adams wants to separate so that he doesn't have to see color.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying to myself, you PC created the construct of race.
Right. No accountability.
You cannot, and it's been going on since the inception of this establishment known as the United States of America.
I think that we should stop calling it a construct. I think we should start calling it a business model.
Yeah, I can see that, because that's why I call it. This is why. Listen, I don't call the U.S. a country. I call it an establishment because it's ran like a business. It's ran like a corporation.
Facts.
I rarely call it a country. Rarely call it a country.
Yeah, I call it the United States Corporation of America, whose products of import and export are white supremacy.
And that's what it is. When this person said color blindness, it's because at a time in America, Black people did not have the free reign to really call out what needs to be called out, like how we're calling it out now, without a fear of backlash or worse. And that's what they want to go back to, where it's not talked about. It's just there and it just happens. And we're not supposed to air our grievances about it. It's basically a one-sided thing. Only they have the right to complain. Only they have the right to feel some type of way. Only they have the ability to basically bitch and moan about whatever, and we should just shut up, roll over, and take it. That's basically how I'm reading this statement from whoever this person is.
And see, this is the reason why I always say people should just embrace villainy.
Villainy, exactly.
Because you should never aim your goals to try to make any of these people happy, because you have to understand that their status quo state of being is to never be happy. They are antagonists at every single turn. So if they're going to try to paint you in a certain light, make sure that when that light is shined on you, you're exactly what it is that they fear, so you can scare them into control.
Exactly. And it said exactly. Musk replied. He said Adams published a new YouTube video on Sunday arguing that media outlets were being unfair because they didn't cover the full context of what he was saying. We got all we needed in that almost 3-minute video. What was there to what was out of context of what needed to be dived more into to understand what you just said? Like, are you trying to say that you were speaking in English? You weren't speaking a foreign language. We all understood what you were saying. You said to white people to get the F away from black people. We did this stuff for black people, and they're basically being some ungrateful bastards. Like, we understood everything that you said word for word. We just spent I know we've been on here for over an hour dissecting that almost 3-minute clip.
Right.
There's nothing more that needs to be broken down to try to remove what it is that you said. The reason why he's saying this because these newspaper outlets are dropping him. He's about to lose a lot of money. And he really has no
401k.
He really has nowhere to go. Like, those newspapers that were still publishing his stuff literally was his bread and butter. And that's why I keep telling people that the white supremacist, your typical white supremacist, is not the smartest bulb in the box.
No,
because you have all this privilege, you have all this status, you have this wealth and this power, and you literally squander it all because you want to have your inner thoughts come out on the outside. And then you run the risk of losing everything because you feel that your privilege is enough to save you from any type of pushback. And that's what Scott Adams is dealing with right now. Rob, what is it that you always say? He found out what?
That the world is correct.
Exactly. There's some balance in the force.
And as far as him complaining about things being unfair, I have to agree with him, except for the fact that I don't think enough has happened to him.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. I agree. More should happen. Listen. If it was left up to me, I would be telling Scott Adams, "Oh, don't feel some type of way now. Your demise is only beginning. Your downfall is just beginning." You haven't even begun to feel the sting or the burn of what's to come.
Right.
But stay locked in. We know you will, because you ain't got nothing to do now because you're getting dropped by all these places. What you gonna do?
Right.
Adams said that in the future he's going to ask all of his critics, that would be us, the demographics of their own neighborhoods. Well, I already said what my neighborhood looks like.
My neighborhood probably about 50-50. You know what I'm saying?
Mine's is like predominantly black. It's some Mexicans around, but it's mainly black though.
Yeah, like the city that I live in is predominantly black, but the neighborhood that I live in, I would say it's probably 50-50. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's nothing like what Scott Adams is talking about.
Exactly. He said, I asked a few people on Twitter and nobody was living in a black neighborhood. Well, I'm not surprised by that because we can pretty much predict what your audience looks like.
Right.
He said, now, of course, they could explain it by saying, well, it's because I wanted to be near my family, to which I say exactly, you wanted to be near your family. Do you know why? Your family doesn't hate you, Adams said. What I'm reading right here is other parts in the video that was outside of what we was breaking down, because I don't remember him saying some of this stuff unless this is what he put on Twitter. Oh, you know what he did? He said, I asked a few people on Twitter. I don't know if this was before that video or after, but it sounds like it was after. The entire video shows Adams arguing simultaneously that he was misinterpreted because people didn't hear the proper context, while also saying he knew exactly what he was saying and how it would be interpreted by the media. Well, there you go.
There you go. You're taking two sides of the argument. They didn't
of
have
his own
idea.
Argument at that.
They didn't have any idea what I was saying, but I know that they're going to understand exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, okay.
He says, I don't make mistakes. Well, you may want to hear. He's I don't think I've ever made a mistake in public. What? This basically was in public. You put this on a public forum for the world to see.
All you got to do is just let them talk.
And they tell on themselves exactly, and that's what he's doing. He said, maybe a few times when I first started out, Adams rambled in his video Sunday, but eventually you get good at it. and you don't say things you don't mean, and you don't say things without knowing completely how it's going to be taken. My goodness. All you can do is really laugh at this nonsense.
Yeah.
That's really all you can do. To
That's
those
all
of
you can do.
out there watching, listen, me and Rob, we laughed more than we was mad. I don't think we was mad one time. I'm literally like, my face is about to start hurting from laughing so much because this was hilarious.
It always is.
It was, I would say it was a bit draining just listening to him saying whatever he was saying, but it was funny at the same time. So that's what kind of like kept me up. That's what kept the energy up as it pertains to this whole situation.
When you listen to how stupid these people are, and then when you look at how half of them look, you can't help but to laugh. Like, imagine all of this stuff coming out of somebody like Scott Adams, who has a head shaped the way his head is shaped, and he's famous, or not so much famous, but has some recognition for drawing a comic that no one cares about.
Exactly.
Now he's going to be famous for saying stuff that no one cares about.
Exactly. Now, Rob, I got to ask you, who do you think is holding the biggest financial L in the first quarter? Scott Adams or Adidas?
Oh, it's got to be Adidas.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because
I definitely agree.
Scott Adams, no, he's there's no possible way that he was making anywhere near the amount of money that Adidas is making, and I
don't think he can bounce back like Adidas can.
Right. So I haven't really been following what's going on with Kanye and Adidas. I really hope Kanye isn't considering working with them again. I really hope he's not.
Yeah, I actually have a video coming soon about that. I'm gonna say this. I wish that he did not go the route that he is going when it comes to that. I'll let you, I'm sure you might go ahead and look it up for yourself and you'll draw your own interpretation from it. But me personally, after what they did, I would have just let them hang out to dry.
Oh, I would have helped them. I would have helped crush them. You know what I'm saying? I would.
But the thing is too, also, I don't think this is going to help them really at all. It's going to it may help a little bit, but not as much as it would have if they would have just kept him on as a client. Right. Because it's like literally now people are not going to want to buy the shoe. Basically, they bought him back. Well, they didn't bring him back, but they pretty much wanted him to help sell the remainder of the inventory of the shoes that they have. Mind you, it's $500 million at value. So that's a lot of shoes that they have to sell by a certain time. And I don't think that's going to help. And then also when I was reading more into it, they said that this is in no way a new partnership deal with Kanye West. We're not going to take on any new designs or any new shoes. So don't get too excited. We're just trying to sell the rest of these so we can get rid of them so we don't lose so much money. They saw that they were going to lose that over $1 billion in revenue and got shook. And they was like, okay, we got to call him back. We got to bite the bullet and call him back. But don't bring him all the way back in, just a little bit in, so we can sell these shoes and send him back out there. That's basically what it is.
I'd have told them the only thing that I can help you do at this point is go bankrupt faster. That's literally the only thing I can assist you with.
That's basically how I felt about it. But yeah, we have reached the end of yet another, I guess you could say, breakdown, roast of these fools. I know the chat was very entertained by that, but yeah, we had to come and do this. Like I said, we could have did this on our own, but it worked so much better when we did this together. And as you can see, by the time another over an hour, it's all that. For those of you who are new, just deal with it.
they deal with it. They like these, you know what I'm saying?
Just deal with it. But yeah, go ahead and let the people know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so just check out Black Light Revelations on YouTube. You'll find me, and check out some of my videos. You may like them, you may not. I hope that you do. And I'm always in the comment section on Taurean's videos and live streams because I enjoy Taurean's content. So you can find me there too.
All right, I appreciate that. Shout out to everybody that came through and was watching and stuck around for this almost hour and a half breaking down this crap with this Scott Adams. Hopefully we don't have to talk about him ever again. But you know what? If something does happen that goes against him, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, as he is very deserving of whatever it is that we got to critique him on, which apparently isn't much.
Right.
But yeah,
I really actually want to do a reaction. You know what I'm saying? A dynamic duo reaction to that to that Officer Tatum video with Aunt Jemima. Like, that is just insane.
We can set that up.
Yeah. Well, let's get it. We'll do that one.
Yeah. I think the people would enjoy us roasting his ass again and again. I'm telling you, we could get endless content just talking about him at least once a month.
Yeah,
like once a month. Because to talk about him every week, that is exhausting.
we should just make a series called Monitoring Tatum.
Oh my God. Right. But yeah, with that being said, we out, everybody. We'll talk to you in the next one.
Peace.